maybe, excuse me, and Your Honor, I'm not trying to be racist, okay? But it's a black thing, okay? You know, I was trained, and most black folks, they hide cash or they keep cash. And I trained, you always keep some cash.
Oh, right. So the embarrassment is just beyond belief for me. And I have to touch on this story because I'm going to touch on every story and every headline that I see that I want to touch on. And this is it. This is about the Fani Willis case. This is the prosecutor who's bringing up Trump for RICO charges in Atlanta. And I knew that things would go south with this woman, but I just never expected for it to get this bad. And I don't want to disrespect her father, but my God, like, it's just it's just too much. And these people, they make it so easy, you know, that everybody gets the chance to have a turn. And we're going to get to that where, you know, even Ben Shapiro got a chance to have a turn with these people about, you know, the things that Fani Willis is saying. So before I get into Ben Shapiro and his take on this whole situation, I'm going to go ahead and I want to play a couple clips of Fani and some of the things that she's saying. Asking Fani about where she gets her money from and, you know, basically like, are you stealing money?
I always have cash at the house. That has been, I don't know, all my life. If you're a woman and you go on a date with a man, you better have $200 in your pocket. So if that man acts up, you can go where you want to go. So I keep cash in my house, and I don't keep cash as good in my purse like I used to. I don't go on many dates, but when you go on a date, you should have cash in your pocket.
I mean, what are we talking about here? Like, so you're extorting money to have cash for dates? Like, what's going on, yo? So this lady goes on to actually admit the fact that she is basically she was embezzling money from her campaign funds. I mean, she says it. She's like, you know, I took a bunch of money from my campaign. I kept some cash from some of that, you know. I mean, she's literally admitting to campaign finance crime, like Laura Loomer says here. But here's the thing, right? When it's somebody like me, maybe I'll make a mistake and say some dumb stuff, but you are a lawyer, you're a prosecutor. How are you admitting to things that you know are crimes? Like, did you study when you went to school? Like, I just don't get it, you know?
So my question was, where did that cash originally come from? If it didn't come out of the bank?
Cash is fungible. We've had cash for years in my house. So for me to tell you the source of when it comes from, when you go to Publix and you buy something, you get $50, you throw it in there. It's been my whole life. When I took out a large amount of money on my first campaign, I kept some of the cash of that. Like, to tell you, I just have cash in my house. I don't have as much today as I would normally have, but I'm building back up now. So you just put money in. It's a very good practice. I would advise it to all women.
So you can't identify when you came into this cash or where the cash came from?
I didn't say I couldn't identify it. No, nobody gives me anything. I am sure that the source of the money is always the work, sweat, and tears of me.
So, you know, and then she gets belligerent with her attitude. I mean, let's call it what it is, guys. Like, let's not act like this is not the Black woman attitude. Like, that's what it is, man. Come on. Like, I work with people like this. Like, this is what it is. Okay. And to think that it's not true, to think that this is not what's happening, and that attitude, that belligerent attitude, that behavior of always wanting to be right, not just humbling yourself to listen, made her talk herself into about 10 different corners. All right. I mean, after this type of testimony, Fani Willis should just be removed from her position. This woman just said that she takes campaign money and, you know, I always got cash, and that's a good practice. I tell to any woman, you know, I mean, this whole thing is just so much to unpack here. And what it does is it makes, of course, Black folk look ridiculous. Like, what's going on? There's nothing about this that makes her look smart or funny or good or anything, or educated or anything. And from what I heard, the dress is on backwards too. So it's just too much to be like, it really is.
Well, folks, there's something called the Dunning-Kruger effect. The Dunning-Kruger effect is a bias in the brain that you tend to think you are better at something than you actually are. And the Dunning-Kruger effect is widely held across a wide variety of skill sets in the United States. It's also held in general by a lot of people who think they are smarter than they actually are. But it's particularly held by people who have been made untouchable by the system. If you've been made untouchable by the system and you've just been rising through the ranks for years, based on, say, your intersectional identity, you're going to think you're much better and more competent at things than you actually are. And they can get away with a lot more. This is the story of Fani Willis. Fani Willis is the Fulton County District Attorney. She's the person who has brought charges against President Trump based on supposed violation of RICO law, which, as we've explained on the show, really does not apply in this particular case. It's certainly a legal stretch. She's attempting to make her name by getting Donald Trump, particularly in a state court, because if you can get Donald Trump on a state charge, well, then he can't pardon himself if he becomes president of the United States. Well,
so he has every right to talk about Fani the way he did. You know, this is why I don't go with the whole DEI thing. I don't. I'm very loud about that on Twitter. I don't care how it makes people feel. It works people up. Everybody wants to bring every freaking study to me in the books, how DEI is going to help with representation. And I keep trying to tell people that when they have to fill quotas, they don't care who they put in the slot. It's just that simple. It doesn't mean that the person's not smart, but filling quotas is not a good thing, period. Point blank, period. Okay? It's just that simple. Because clearly, this woman is not in the right position. She's a prosecutor, and she sat there and talked herself into a whole confession.
things started to fall apart for Fani Willis over the last couple of months. She was a heroine in the media. She was a hard-charging prosecutor who was going to finally get Trump. And then it turns out that she is like key example of the Dunning-Kruger effect, but with an intersectional twist, because she thought that apparently she could get away with like literally anything. So just for background, let me play you a clip of Fani Willis explaining before she was elected DA why exactly she should be the DA. Here she is.
This is going to be good. Here we go.
Because they deserve a DA that won't have sex with his employees. Because they deserve a DA that won't put money in their own pocket when it should go to benefit children. Because we deserve better.
Okay. Now, as we were about to find out, the Fulton County people did not actually receive that DA, apparently.
They didn't receive that DA at all, because if I'm not mistaken, like this woman has dealt with some of the guys that put Young Thug in jail. Like she put Young Thug in jail, and she was messing with some of the guys that wanted him in jail. I mean, this chick is totally corrupt and steals money at the same time. And he's going to go ahead and break all of that down. So might as well just go ahead and watch a little bit more of what he has to say.
According to Forbes, Willis faces accusations she violated state conflict of interest and public money laws over claims from a group of Trump co-defendants that she engaged in an improper clandestine personal relationship. This would be a relationship with a man named Nathaniel Wade, who really had very little prosecutorial background, but was appointed the special prosecutor to help her out in the Fulton County case against Donald Trump. Wade and Willis apparently traveled together on 2 vacations, according to court documents, and state records reveal that Wade earned more than $650,000 working with Willis.
So we didn't even get to the Young Thug part. I mean, even Trump called out the Young Thug part. But do you hear this? She took her boyfriend and gave him a position. You know, so this is what I mean. Like, and y'all not even at least a little incognito with the mafioso, right? Because it's not just blacks who do like mafia type nepotism type things like this. We know that for sure. But it's blacks who are so sloppy with it, who get caught up all the time.
Okay, so that's what she testified. And really, there are 2 issues in this evidentiary hearing. Issue number 1 is when Fani Willis started dating Nathan Wade, if it was earlier than the appointment, which suggests, of course, that she appointed him because she was stooping him. So that's question number 1. And question number 2 is, even if she was dating him after they got together on the case, was she then expending taxpayer dollars on him in ways that she wouldn't any other employee? At a form of cancer, it was not possible for him to have a romantic relationship because he was trying to isolate. It didn't go over amazingly well in court. He was sweating bullets, Nathan Wade, as you would imagine.
Yes, sir.
In the condo?
Yes, sir.
And you indicated that prior to November 1st of 2021, you had spent time at the condo, the Hapeville condo?
Yes, sir.
With Miss Willis, right?
Yes, sir.
And with someone else? You said Miss Yearty?
Miss Yearty, yes, sir.
Okay, so you were not concerned, that was not a sterile environment, was it?
Are you inferring that Miss Yearty and D.A. Willis is not sterile? Of course it's a sterile environment. It's a condo.
But don't you remember then I followed up and said, where else might you have been to show your cell phone records from Hapeville? And you said, the airport, right? Mm-hmm. Not a sterile environment though, the airport, you agree?
It is not.
Okay, what about restaurants? Not a sterile environment, right?
They are not.
And the Porsche, you said something about a Porsche what?
The Porsche experience.
That doesn't sound very sterile to me. Is that a sterile environment?
Well, you're inside of your vehicle.
Yeah, but don't you
Okay, so we don't even need to see anymore. This is what happens when people lie themselves into a corner. You sound dumb. Okay, you told them you couldn't be in unsterile areas because of some sort of cancer that you were dealing with in 2020 and part of 2021. But they're telling you were at the airport, you were at the condo, and you were in some Porsche. You know, those aren't sterile areas. And to be honest, nobody could ever say that I had to be in sterile areas. That's why I had to isolate. Because if you had to be in a sterile area, that really means that you're in ICU or straight up the operating table. You see what I'm saying? Stop using the big words. It's not a good look. If I'm not mistaken, this is the same broad who went and put Young Thug in jail for like RICO charges. I mean, apparently she loves using these RICO charges, and she's mad about something. So it doesn't look good. And so now, if it's looking more like Fani Willis sacrificed Young Thug and Lucci to protect her own criminal behavior, I guarantee they told her that she better arrest someone for something quick or she's toast. And that might have been what happened. I don't know the Young Thug case that much, and I need to get into it. And I'm not saying that Young Thug didn't do anything wrong. Who knows if he did or didn't? But if you're doing things that are unethical to your position, then all your cases now look bad. Everybody talking about they want Young Thug free. Donald Trump I think that we should just drop that case. This woman is a fraud and a crook. And enough is enough. I'll see you guys at the next video. Bye.